So happy last day of 2023 as we release today anything that we don't want to carry forward and we embark on a new journey for 2024. We embrace all that we want to create. And so each and every one of you should have, this is one of those times in Unity you can shoulda, woulda, coulda. This is your burn paper. It's very, very thin. Please do not mix it up with the other paper. I don't want the fire department here this morning. And this is actual flash paper. And then you have a little envelope, and I will give you instructions, so don't cheat. Don't do it until we get there. But I want to make sure if you don't have one, we're going to get our ushers back in here to make sure you do before it begins. So if you recall, about 2 weeks ago, I asked everybody present to look at the vision board and put something on there. Put a word on there, put a picture on there. I began the journey with a picture of prayer with Johnny and Hazel. I began it with a picture of our children singing, that new vitality, that new life, that place of all things new again. And this morning I want to open us with something. When I'm preparing for a talk, my new little jaunt is to have coffee for about an hour. Come hither. We are waiting for you. What do they say in the South? Y'all come back now, you hear? So come on in, the water's fine. So for about an hour in the morning, I'll have coffee and I'll contemplate what the subject is that I've already prepared. And I've been really playing and dancing in what is our theme for 2024 and taking in the words that were written and some of the pictures. And then Wednesday, I drafted what I wanted to be in the newsletter. So if you don't get our newsletter, you want to sign up for it in the book before you exit. Make sure that your email address is legible, because I don't know, neither does Maria in the office. But I want to share with you Thursday morning. Thursday morning, I was sitting at my desk, and my son had been in for Christmas, and Christmas Day, we actually painted my entire living room, so my house is completely run astride. But in the center of my desk was the Bible. And I thought, this is good. I will be quiet. I will be contemplative. And wherever the Bible opens, I will read from that passage. And this is what came. This is the parable of the wicked tenants. Listen to another parable. There was a landowner who planted a vineyard, put a fence around it, dug a wine press in it, and built a watchtower. I thought, oh wow, a watchtower. There must be a message in a watchtower. For when I think of a watchtower, I think kind of like when the ships are passing by, and you have the tall tower, the lookout tower, that's guiding its way, shining that brilliant light. I thought, well, that's a pretty good message. Maybe that's what I meant to see. Then he leased it to tenants and went to another country. When the harvest time had come, he sent his slaves to the tenants to collect his produce. But the tenants seized his slaves, beat one, killed another, and stoned the other. Again, he sent other slaves, more than the first, and they treated them in the same way. Now you can imagine, I'm in this desk in this contemplative time thinking, what are we talking about? They will respect my son, but when the tenants saw the son, they said to themselves, this is the heir, come, let us kill him and get his inheritance. So they seized him, threw him out the vineyard, and killed him. Now when the owner of the vineyard comes, what will he do to those tenants? This is Jesus asking the people that he's speaking to. And they said to him, he will put those wretches to a miserable death and lease the vineyard to other tenants who will give him the produce at the harvest time. And Jesus said to them, have you never read in the scriptures The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. This was the Lord's doing, and is it amazing in our eyes? So I had just written out our theme for 2024. I opened that book just to whatever page it fell on. In 2023, our theme was Pattern Interrupt Us. It gave us the opportunity to release old ways of being that have been planted here in this structure for a very long time. And I wanted us to open our minds and our hearts to be guided by Spirit. So in 2024, on Wednesday morning, before I actually read this passage the next day, I sat down and wrote that we were going to do the cornerstone. It's time to set the cornerstone, the first stone used in building a foundation. The entire structure of a building relied on the strength and the permanence of the cornerstone. So we know a building itself is not a church, but the building does provide a place to gather, to connect, to celebrate, to share from the heart, and to learn and support one another. So just in a moment, I'm going to ask you just to close your eyes for just a moment. Take a breath in. What does a cornerstone mean to you? Is it a place of healing? A house of prayer? A communion of like-minded beings? A haven for expressing your own divinity? A crucial step along the path of your own enlightenment? So this year, you may open your eyes. This year, our emphasis is a positive and forward-looking perspective. As we embark on building this community, first we cleared out what no longer served us. Now we are planting the seeds of our future. Today, we are the cornerstone. We are a community filled with support and a shared commitment for our growth and our spiritual development. So, are you ready to hear what the theme is? Yeah. What'd you say? Yeah. Our 2024 theme is, thank you, with great joy and anticipation, we boldly set our cornerstone upon which we build and flourish within our community. How's that feel? So what this also means, we are building and flourishing within our spiritual community. So it is not anyone else's job to do our job. So what does that mean? It means we take self-responsibility. For whatever it is we want to create here, we step boldly forward, anticipating what this place is going to look like in less than a year from now. So like the parable, if you think someone else is going to do it, those slaves that came to the field and were killed, your divine idea will die if you wait for someone else to do it. If we reject what we have, if we do not come forward, the universe, who always supports us, will say, I got you. You don't want to do anything? It's okay, I'll feed that. We won't do anything more because you're telling me you're filled up. Are we filled up? No, we are open to receive. We are open to receive. So this is about building our community from the foundation up. We are the cornerstone. Our values, our teachings, and our beliefs. So we are the divine idea of this community. I'm going to invite you to take these words in as if they are your own. Let me be the cornerstone. Let us be the cornerstone. Let me give myself permission to enter the kingdom. Let us give ourselves permission to be in the kingdom. Let me acknowledge my birthright, my divinity. Let us acknowledge our birthright, our divinity. For it is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. I invite you to claim it. And so it is, as we let it be, the cornerstone. Amen. So we're going to do this a little differently this morning just because I can. This is one of the lessons that we have been looking at in the past year as a church. So I'm going to ask Rob to begin the PowerPoint. And I want you to focus on, I let go and I let God. At the beginning of this year, the board looked at a book written by Tom Rainer. And the book was called The Autopsy of a Deceased Church. And it told us as board members, as leaders, what we were doing wrong and why churches were decreasing in their numbers. So then this year, the same author, I found a book, and it was updated in 2022, called The Anatomy of Revived Church. So I got this book for each one of our board members. So let's take a look. Part 1. Let's take a look. How are we going to be alive, well, awake, enthusiastic? Individuals and organizations do not lack the resources, knowledge, and information to survive. Now, many people might think, well, churches are changing form because on Sunday morning there's a lot of activities for our youth, and so they're not as likely to go to church with their mom and dad as maybe we all did when we were in our younger years. And then I will say we are proving that to be wrong as we now have 18 beautiful souls in our youth program, and it's growing. When we talk about resources, we're talking about finances, we're talking about talent, we're talking about those who give to us in music, those who give it to us in their organizational skills. Our volunteer teams are growing, and I know everybody in this room will pick a place before the end of January. So they simply do not choose to make the changes that are clear and available. What does that say to you? If churches are changing form, and the statement is they simply do not choose to make the changes that are clear and available to them, are our heads in the sand? Are we not paying attention? In this whole year, with new people coming in, I've heard, what are you looking for? Connection. We did connection in our small groups. We do it with our volunteer team. So this is the statistics in 2022. 20 churches closing their doors every single day. Most of them did not have to die. Most of those chose to die. So death over change. You ever heard that some people might say on Monday morning they would rather die than go back to work? Or they'd rather die than get up and do public speaking? Chose tradition over change. When I get up here and I mess the flow of order up, we are changing. When we bring new people up on the stage, when we change the configuration of the church, when we change how we do a service, we are making changes. We are looking out for the greater good of the community, and sometimes those changes are awkward. Sometimes your entire world doesn't feel like it's working, and you just want to come sit in that chair and know what to expect. Well, if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've always... Right. So change is sometimes uncomfortable. And sometimes we grow. As a matter of fact, the only way we grow is when we change. So some people choose comfort over change. I get it. We want something in our world to be normal. We want something in our world to be something we already understand. And then how do we grow? When those little things poke and prod you to think differently. I love when I'm out here saying hello and goodbye to people, and someone will come up and go, wow, I never thought about it like that. I'm not telling you to swallow the Kool-Aid. I'm just asking you to think about it. Pick your flavor. If what I'm saying doesn't resonate with you, you find the good book. You find the right class. You come express to me where your truth is. Let's do it together. Choose preference over change. If you come in every Sunday and that is your chair and nobody else better sit there, I'm going to ask you to think another way. Tell us why we need to change. Why do you think 3 out of 4 churches are declining today and 1 in 5 are dying? Ooh, not meeting people where they're at. That was ding, 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 ding. That's a good one. What else? Judgment? What else?
Outdated ideas.
Outdated ideas. What else? Boring. If y'all go to sleep in here, I'm not loud enough. Guilt, right. If you're coming to a Unity church and you're filled with guilt, I got some counseling for you. No woulda, shoulda, couldas. We're going to live boldly, anticipating a fabulous future. That old guilt stuff, that is holding you back, and today is your day to release it. Amen. So churches that choose to live, they call them breakout churches, turnaround church. When I was in the banking industry, and I told y'all that I worked with a major accounting firm and the FDIC as banks were closing. So when we went in there and we sold their assets, or you tried to revive them, it was called a turnaround. So I get that. So how are we going to turn this church around? Be a revitalized church, to revive a revitalized. That just sounds like we're having a revival. We're having a revival of souls in the Unity kind of way. I know, we could do that too. So our number 1, what does it say? So that is in our daily lives too. That's not just a church community. If you are blaming someone else for the problems in your life, who's taking responsibility? They're not going to take it because they don't care. It's you. So dying churches blame others. Revived churches accept responsibility. It's all smoke and mirrors and loud music. Anybody been to or watched online these great big mega churches? And they got a band up here like AC/DC's going on, or Def Leppard, or the Bright Lights. We're not bringing those. Now, we might change the music a little bit. But some of that head banging, wow, wow, wow. And they're growing and they're reviving and everybody's a volunteer on stage and blah, blah, blah. It's a little bit much. However, Congregation A, this was a true statement. This is Tom Rain was interviewing a church. And the congregant said, it's the mega church's fault down the street that we are dying. And the congregant B said, we can't compare with their children's program. And then they said, oh, it's the demographics. And then he said, I have pulled the demographics in your area, and there are 17,000 unchurched people. What are you doing about it? They said, yeah, but the only place they want to go is the mega church. This is what Tom says. There were no comments about them investing in their own community. There were no comments about what was working. There were no comments on ministering to others. That means outside the church. So Tom left the meeting as soon as he could. So some people say the church is declining because of the traditional worship style. And that seems to be true. And yet we know some people like a more traditional style. So we have done things in this church, like actually had a communion service. But we interpret it a little bit differently than maybe the more traditional churches do. Growing churches are more contemporary in worship style. That tends to be true. However, the music is not the silver bullet. You remember this guy? Did you know the silver bullet was used not to kill, but to disarm? I thought, because I wanted to know what that Lone Ranger was all about and the silver bullet. The blame game. What does it say? So can you think of another? How many times have I heard, if only we had the new building? Is Jesus the new building? Is the new building Jesus? The new building isn't what is creating or demolishing this church. It's us, what we want to create right now as a community. So what do you think would happen if the leaders and members of our church reached both inside and outside our church walls? Do you know next door in that middle school, they're asking for mentors? They've been asking the entire year of 2023. What if some of us became mentors? What if there's some other place in our community that we could serve? Do you know that Marilyn, every Thursday, Reverend Marilyn goes out and does Meals on Wheels, and she's invited the whole community, and no one but Marilyn does it? How does it feel? It's not a guilt thing. It's just, where can I serve? Where can I spread the message of what I believe to be the teachings of Jesus? So these are the top 10 reasons for discord. I know, I had to get a little traditional here. The worship style, the music, the order of service. Don't get attached to it. I'm going to keep changing things. The time, someone said to me, how about 10:30? You know what they used to say about the Baptist church or the Presbyterian church? Well, on my way to IHOP, I stopped by church. So expectations or roles of the minister, I know that there are some people in here that believe I am their it. Well, I am all y'all's it. That means I'm available to everybody. So don't take any ownership of, that's my minister and she only does this with me and I'm going to monopolize her time, because I'm not going to be monopolized. That's that freedom thing about women and all that kind of leadership stuff. Expectations and role of the board. What do you even know our board members? If you're a board member, would you please stand up? These are the leaders. These are the folks that if you have questions or concerns or you'd like to know what's going on, bombard them. I'm not the only one. So role and functions of committees. We're doing pretty good on that. Ministries and, I really had to give it to you this time. So ministry and programs and the church building, we've already had that conversation. If you think there's any place that exists within this square footage that belongs solely to you, you're wrong. It belongs to the entire congregation. Except for the art in my office, it belongs to all of y'all. The art's mine. So business meetings, we have a few of those, but it doesn't take us over. And staff positions haven't seemed to have been an issue here. There's evidently in some churches, it's a badge of honor to get to the next level. So here's the biggie. On the 21st, we're going to install our new chaplains. As of February, we are really going to focus on prayer being the center of this ministry. I mean that is exactly what Myrtle Fillmore used to heal her body. For all the people who are in any form of disruption, discord, chaos, we're going to take it to prayer, because things can happen in that mystical communion with God that we cannot even see of our own human mind selves today. And if we believe that to be true, mountains will move. Things that we are trying to do in our human capacity that we have not been able to figure out yet, like getting through the frickin' county, God knows how to do this. So I want us to keep God first. It's a God job always. And we are the ears, the hands, and the feet. So let go of, this is the way we've always done it. Y'all are getting better. I'm now getting ready to serve my 4th year here. And for the first 3 years, that's not how we did it. Okay, I don't want to hear that anymore. Because that's not how we're doing it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be saying, that's not how we did it. So now we're going to say, how do we do it now? How do we embrace what we want to create now? Let's honor the past. We've done that. Brilliant, wonderful angels have been here. Now it's time for us. So let go of the idols of tradition and listen. Each and every person in here, I invite you, I charge you in your prayer time, in your meditation, ask, what is mine to do at Unity of Palm Harbor? What is mine? Not the person next to me, mine. Where am I fed? Where am I spiritually nourished? Where do I know that I belong? How do I create this to even a bigger sense of belonging? Maybe I bring friends. Maybe I'm going to start doing something in an arena that's even outside the church that brings attention to the loving spirits in this church. Because it's not about the building. It's not even about the new building. It's about us as a community, recognizing the cornerstone of our belief system, our values, what we hold to be near and dear to each one of us. So what does God want to do in and through you? And you can't do it if you're like I do all the time. You have to be still and listen. Here it is. Let's do it together. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. So this just tells you a little bit about who he is. So thank you, Rob, for putting that out there. So with that being said, now I would like to invite Joy back to the piano. And now I want to take you through a meditation so that we can prepare what we're ready to release. And then I'm going to give you some time to write down every single little thing on the flash paper only that you're ready to release. And it can be anything in the world that you do not want to carry forward, that you are finally this year in 2024, let go and let God. What did I say? Let go and let God. Let you be spirit driven. Let you be spirit fed. So I invite you now to close those outer eyes. Let go, let God. Don't hold it. Maybe a little fire first. Quick. There you go. I let go and I let God. Fast, fast. It's flash paper. I let go and I let God. Fast, fast. Hold her quick. There you go. I can move mountains if I so believe. I let go and I let God. Woo! How's that feel? Woo! That's right. But I just want us to really hold in our hearts and our minds the prosperity for this community. To recognize that each and every person who comes on a journey to be spiritually fulfilled takes responsibility of not only being fully present and aware and joining classes and Sunday morning, but also in how we preserve, protect, and grow this community. And it does take finances. It takes our intentions, it takes our talent, it takes our time. So just to hold in your hearts whatever that gift is that you're bringing today, and a number of our members have given extremely generous in December. We thank you in advance. We thank each and every person who gives to us online, each and every person who covers the box anyways and blesses it. The prayers here for our community and for each other individually. We know that this is God's job, working in and through each one of us. And so now if our ushers will come forward, we know the blessings here already, and we say, thank you, God.